Okay, as you can see, I created another click and drag proof up here. Ooh, Benjamin, I got the given. No, go. That's where I expect all the hands to go up. I got this. I know the given.
I can do this.
Click and drag. Fantastic. Of course, we start our proof with the given. And then, Hope, are you wanting to give me the next statement? Okay, click and drag.
Can I do this out? No, I can't do that yet, right?
I don't know. Can you?
I don't know. Can I? Yeah. Yeah, I can.
Audience
I can't
participation.
see. Top left. I saw it when I was sitting. I just couldn't see it from right there.
All right, so what she said now is that angles CAB and EAD are congruent, and it is vertical angle theorem. Those are vertical angles. What next? Someone else. What can I say after this? Oh my gosh! That's why I love what I do. Caitlin, are you coming up to the board to click and drag?
Wait, are we gonna use the Cpctc?
Yes.
Okay, then I know what that is. Oh crap.
She knows they're congruent, but why?
Right?
Right. Good. The triangles are congruent by side angle side. Once again, remember, and I know for some of you, you see it very easily. Some of you, maybe you're struggling to identify which shortcut you're using. Notice that the given was already marked for us. And then Hope clicked and dragged for us and came up with the second statement that angle CAB was congruent to angle EAD. It might be a good idea, a good strategy, to take that and mark it in the diagram. And once it's marked, if you're still not quite seeing it, another thing that might be helpful would be covering up one triangle and then asking yourself what kind of stuff is marked in the triangle that I'm still looking at. In the triangle we're still looking at, we see two sides marked and one angle marked. Well, hopefully it doesn't spell anything naughty. Because what you're asking yourself then is the A between the two S's? And it is. And that's why it was side angle side. And now, question? I'd like someone else to come up and do the last bit. The last statement should be almost as easy as the first. You always know where you're starting. You should always know where you're ending. You did the first statement. I'd like a different volunteer. Be bold. Be brave. There's no room for wimpy mathematicians. Thank you, Maddie.
Woo, Maddie!
There you go.
That's exactly it. Right? And you will always, anytime you're doing a proof, and there's congruent triangles involved, anytime it goes beyond that, the very next reason is always going to be Cpctc, because that's really all you can use congruent triangles for. Okay, we're still getting what we need from this screen?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So basically, like, you do a regular proof and then just add that last step.
Right, you're still proving that two triangles are congruent, but that's not your end game.
Yeah.
It's a means to an end.
All right.
It's a sub-goal. Once again, For problem 2, yes, I realize there's your turn. Problem 1, you will have plenty of time to address that. I did want to go ahead and move on to problem 2. Once again, clicking and dragging. I'd love to get different volunteers up here. Haley.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I got now. Oh man, now I gotta find it. Oh. It's up there somewhere. And of course it's not. Okay. All right. Next. Actually, I'd like different volunteers. Who hasn't come up to my screen yet? Isa hasn't come up. Braden, Michael. Nobody from that island. Come on, be bold. Be brave. There's no room for wimpy mathematicians here. Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine. I'm gonna listen to the recording. Just sing it. What time is it?
It's at 6. It's like at 6:40.
Thank you.
So probably at 6.
It's like 5 minutes.
Okay. That's a necessary statement in our proof. What else do I need to say? Someone else. Absolutely. Notice that this was a bigger given than we may be accustomed to. Is it all up there yet?
No.
No, okay, this is the easy one. Kristen. Another easy one. Come on, click and drag.
I don't know.
Sure you do. Little audience assistance.
M is the midpoint of BC. M is the midpoint of
Third one down on the left.
Start from
Up.
B,
Right there.
M,
Right there.
and
No,
down.
this
There you
one?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, oh.
This is again and again.
Oh, I didn't know there was 2.
My life. I kick that every day. Okay, so we were given that M is the midpoint of BC. Does that allow me to say someone else? Click and drag. Isa.
I was going to tell you this so you could drink.
No, I click and drag up there all day. Okay, Isa knows what it is, but doesn't want to get up out of his seat to click and drag it. Thank you, Mariah.
Which one did you say, Lisa? It's this one?
Yeah.
And then that's what
That's what Isa said?
Yeah.
Where did you take Isa?
I don't know.
Okay, so
Okay, let me put it down.
he said definition of midpoint, and that's accurate. We just said that we have a midpoint, so using the definition of midpoint does make sense. But, ladies and gentlemen, what does a midpoint do? What? Whoa, one person. What does a midpoint do, Daria?
It cuts a segment into 2 segments.
Cuts a segment into 2 congruent segments. So am I saying anything about these angles? No, Sarah, go fix it, please.
What does it say anything about segments? Oh, it's under the given. Kristen screwed it up.
Alright, the definition of midpoint is good, we want that there.
Oh, you want
It's the angle B congruent to angle C that we need to get rid of.
But I thought you could put that
It's
for,
under the given.
what was it?
It says
right
congruent
angles
to
are congruent.
CN, that's the right.
Could you put that for right angle?
Angle B and C aren't right angles though.
Sorry.
Oh, and Chris, I don't think it was Chris, it was exactly.
Wow, I wonder which one it is.
Okay.
Oh.
Remember what a midpoint does. It divides a segment into two congruent segments.
Never mind.
Okay.
You want to know it, kind of.
I heard, yeah, Michael, I have Michael.
Taylor was gonna do
It's just I didn't see that on the first time. I knew it was that, but I didn't see it, so I just said you didn't see it.
So,
Exactly.
woo, fantastic, yes, because M is the midpoint of segment BC, I can conclude that BM is congruent to CM, and look at where we are. I have this congruent statement, and this congruent statement.
Oh,
Daria. Click and drag.
no. Let's go, Darman. Oh. Got this.
Woo! Are we good?
Well, there's.
Wait.
Oh, all right.
We're okay. Thank you, Daria. Okay. So we've said that the triangles are congruent. Hey, Caitlin, you've already gone up. I'd like someone.
to do tonight.
That's the last. Remember, you know where you start and you know where you end. Oh, that's like the boss lady doing.
I was just kidding. I do know what the midpoint is, and I do know what congruent means, but I'll let you know.
Taylor, go.
Okay, Taylor. Taylor hasn't played with the smart board yet.
Yeah.
Don't play a
Right, you gotta press it like you need it. And we're good?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so making sure that you're getting into your notes what's on the screen. Once again, what we're doing is just one step extra than what we've been doing for the last few days. We're still proving that triangles are congruent, but that's not our end game. It's our sub-goal. It's a means to an end. Yes, ma'am?
What does that stand for again?
Cpctc, again, stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, and it is at the top of your notes. Okay, so anytime you have that triangles are congruent, you can use this property to state that any of its other corresponding parts are congruent. Maddie.
So how do you know when to use that and when to not? Or do you always use
Okay, so a fantastic question. Question was, when do you know when you're going to be using Cpctc and when do you not? And Caitlin, it sounded like you had an answer for that.
Because when it says what you have to prove, if you have to prove the triangles are congruent, it's going to say the triangles are congruent, and then if it's like a segment is congruent to another segment or an equal is congruent to
Okay, so that's part of the answer. Excellent. However, are we always going to have triangles that we're dealing with? Not necessarily. Some of the proofs that we'll be dealing with later on in this chapter, we're not actually going to be proving that triangles are congruent. We'll be using different properties. But in general, you look at what you're trying to prove, and if you notice that those angles are, or those segments are corresponding parts of two triangles that look like they're congruent, chances are good that your sub-goal is prove that the triangles are congruent and then go from there.
Ms. Clouse, what is a proof of?
It allows us to go to show the logical sequence of steps from what we're given to what we're trying to prove. And one stumbling block for a lot of students is, well, why do I have to prove it if I can just look at it and see that it's true? And it's just demonstrating the value of that logic of going from one step to another, which mathematically maybe you don't see the value of it, but I know I have colleagues in fields of debate and friends in law that refer back to this logic that they did in geometry, and it's very heavily helped them in their field. You have a question? Okay. We have from this screen what we need. All right, so you have your turn in your notes for problem 1 and problem 2. And as you can see, I have the screen ready when
I like these better. Can I write this?
you like writing it in better than clicking and dragging it.
It's so much easier.
My horrible handwriting. Yeah.
All right, Caitlin, go ahead and fill in the blanks for your turn to problem 1.
All of them?
Yes, please.
Yeah, even though the two of you named the triangles differently, they are in fact the same corresponding. Even the first triangle is kind of random, making sure to name the second one accordingly that matters.
While she's putting that down, just out of curiosity, how many of you am I losing tomorrow? Anything goes.
All
Yeah.
I thought it was doing
6th and 7th.
You should lose the whole class, they should all.
They should all go. Just bring them home.
I don't remember. Do they come to 6th period first? Or do they
Yeah, drop off your backpack, take the time.
Yep.
All right. So how's Caitlin's proof looking?
That is good.
Did everything all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, she did. Is it what you have in your notes?
Yes.
And we're good for the next screen? Not yet. Okay, we're good?
Come on, Belle. Let's go.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Who's next? Who's got this next one coming up on my screen? I think so. Maybe. I don't know. Brayden. Hey, be bold, be brave.
I only know 2 reasons, that's all I really think we know.
Okay, so get it started and maybe someone else will fill in whatever blanks you leave.
Let me just write it in.
Get off my shoe.
What?
You're leaning with your hand. I would imagine it's even more challenging. Uh-oh, you have 2 things up. An eraser back.
You gotta get it. You gotta get
There we
it.
go.
Good.
Do you need help?
No, he's left-handed.
You want me to, hey, you want me to write to you
different.
and you can just.
He's got it, he's got it.
Scoreboard is always in our best hand.
No.
Okay, then you got that thing
Who's the lead setup?
there.
Who's on the other side?
I cannot do it.
We know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that thing.
Watch it.
And Kristen, are you volunteering to fill in whatever blanks you leave behind? Excellent, thank you.
Okay, whatever. I can't write it too.
You're not.
I probably does.
What?
I would imagine it's the same, I mean, I leave with my hand when I'm writing on paper, but you learn not to.
No one told me happy birthday because my birthday's in the.
Exactly.
No, building 3 rule.
You're not
110,
here.
it's down here.
I told you have to for kids.
Where do you have to go? Haley, where do you have to go?
Okay, she has triangle TRS and a UVS. Good. Fantastic, thank you. Okay, make sure you have in your notes what's indicated on the screen. That the angles are congruent because all right angles are congruent. Make sure if you named the triangles differently, that doesn't necessarily mean that you named them wrong. Remember, the way you name the first triangle is kind of random. What's important is that you're naming the second triangle accordingly. And then, of course, reason for Cpctc. Gentlemen, we all right on the screen?
Since before the
Cpctc.
Okay, daily quiz. Once again,